What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Dash today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 8th day of November. Here we are at about $80 with 8 hours and 50 minutes left in the day. You might remember on this day we were literally at the high, calling for the high to be in. Down here, we called for a double top to come in. I did believe that we would see a slightly higher high. We'd double top, and then we'd come down. But then at this high, we literally said, you know what? Looks like it's stopping here. We're probably going to come down. That's probably what's going to happen. And we did. We've been very, in other words, guys, we were bearish, we were bullish, we were bearish. We've been actually very good with this little move over the past few days. That's nice to see. I do believe that we have higher to go. I very much do believe that Dash will see new highs and continue to climb. But first, perhaps we do go lower, right? My theory here, back at the high, whenever we were calling for us to find some resistance, the theory was that from a low here to a high here, if we were to pull back, we'd either find support at about $93 or $69. Now, I weighed in. I said I would bet we find support at 93. That's my thoughts. I was saying I can't really imagine that we drop down to $70, but it can happen. We've seen crazy drops happen before in the markets. That'd be about a 54% drop, but oftentimes, even in growth phases where you're seeing spectacular growth, you get 30 to 60% drops. 54%, that's within that range, right? 30 to 60% drops happen in crypto, even in bull runs, especially in bull runs, okay? That's just what happens here. So you're either going to stop at the 236 or the 382. It's completely possible that you do stop here. I don't think that we do. To me, on a fib level, it just doesn't make as much sense, but let's just put a line right here and see, are there any levels of significance going back in time right here at prior resistance, very close at least. I would think you'd have to go a little bit lower right there at prior resistance here. Prior support right there. I mean, it is somewhat of a significant level. It is somewhat of a significant level. But I still, and the fact that it's that resistance point and this support point here might just be enough to find support. So it is completely possible. I do want to say, as of now, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, where we have been calling for Dash to move down over the past few days, I would say that this is a possible low. It's a totally acceptable low. Typically, I don't really, in this kind of situation, I would not expect the low to happen until we hit the 382. The fact that we're this far past the 236, I would think we hit the 382, but we don't have to. There are significant areas, there is causality enough to find support right here, okay? But if I wasn't looking at anything else, I was just using this fib, I would say very confidently that we do go down to about $69. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if we drop down that low, that's a perfectly fine area to find support. It interacts very well with our prior cycle, or our prior highs from December of 2024. I really wouldn't be thrown off by that at all. I don't think anybody should. Dash absolutely has higher to go. Absolutely it does. This is just a momentary stop on a path that will take it higher. Okay. Overall, from a low dating back to June of this year to the high, you have seen an 8.6x move. That's pretty phenomenal. I wouldn't be surprised if here, between your high and wherever your low is, maybe it's here, maybe it's a little bit lower, wherever it might be, I wouldn't be surprised if we spent the next couple of weeks consolidating here, and then maybe at the end of the month, that's whenever we begin moving higher, right? If we pulled back to the 236, and we found support right here, maybe we could talk about progressing higher to prices above $150 immediately next week. But the fact that we've dropped a little bit more, anything's possible. We've seen significant drops before and recovered immediately. We can see it happen again. But I would think that we spend a little bit of time consolidating, probably a week or two, and then we move up higher. That'd be my thoughts. Okay, a week or two, and then we move up higher. Probably by the end of this month, Dash will see higher prices than $150, okay? We knew that that was a high point because we take last cycle's high, put it at the bear market low here, and you interacted perfectly with the golden ratio. That's why we were bearish up here. We said you could go up to $170. You could have gone higher, but something in this range is what we were looking for. Perfectly tied up with resistance here, prior resistance here, and resistance there as well. Support zones, whatever. Support right there. It made all the sense in the world to find resistance here. Typically, you go from your golden ratio zone. On your first attempt, you go back to your 0.5382 area, you find support, and then you move higher. That's what we're doing. We're right in that area now. It's perfect. It was foretold, and it's coming to pass. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of November, we saw Dash back at $230 to $330. Somewhere in that area, 230 to 3. Let me say it again. By the end of November, Dash could be and we're forecasting a $230 to $330 price. Okay, that's what we're forecasting. But over the next couple of weeks, we're probably just going to consolidate. I would think that we spend most of our time consolidating, probably between like $91 and $140, somewhere in here, probably a little range bound, but anything can happen. Whenever we do start closing days above $135, that's when it's time to get excited to see prices at $230 to $330. Okay, so Dash, that's where I think you're going to go. That's ultimately where I think you'll go before you see any kind of longer term consolidation. If I'm wrong, then I would say just consolidate here for longer. You know, if we consolidate here and it's the end of November and we still haven't broken out above this high, then perhaps we're here instead of by the end of November, it's sometime in December, and we might even be moving to higher prices after that. Maybe this is our longer phase of consolidation, but I would assume that we see something very similar here as to what we saw here. Okay, we're right in the area to expect to find support, so I don't think that we go too much lower. But looking at the 1 hour time frame here, let's just zoom in and then we'll zoom out. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, the RSI is bearish. You have lower highs and lower lows. I hope it's obvious as to why it's bearish, right? You've got this downward sloping trend. A little bit of a double bottom here, but you might come down to form some bullish divergence still. So a little stab down maybe today or tomorrow should be expected. Stochastics are bearish, and the MACD does have bullish divergence, but still bearish overall. 4 hour time frame here, looking at this. MACD's bearish, but we are at an area to bounce. See, the MACD here at the zero, you typically do bounce here. The blue line's through the zero. The orange line can even go through the zero. We can bounce below. It doesn't have to be right at the zero, but you're at an area to expect to find support. Okay, I very much do believe that. Stochastics are oversold, and the RSI looks like it wants to bounce off the oversold zone. That's nice. It's possible, man. I mean, even with the potential drop down to like $70, $69, it's about a 12% drop, I would say, or maybe even like a 14% drop. I would feel confident buying here. I don't mind buying here. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, though I am pretty confident at this point that we do go to $69. I would have no problem buying here because you're at a massive discount. And then you'll probably see some nice price action back to the upside. You'll come up, you'll find resistance at a lower high area, come down, sky's falling, and then this time you'll find a higher low, probably at prior resistance back here, consolidate, do your thing, and then at a later date we'll start pumping higher, right? That's kind of the thought. Definitely bearish readings though on all these indicators. I wouldn't be mesmerized by any kind of upward price action from here until we are closing prices above about $97. If we can close above $97 on a 4 hour time frame or higher time frame, then cool. Then this is the low and we're probably moving higher. But until then, I'm not wooed by that. Okay. Daily time frame here. RSI is bullish. It's at the same areas that we've been bouncing from. So I mean that's a point in the bulls' favor there. Stochastics, same thing, kind of in an area that we've been bouncing from. The MACD's bullish overall, so nothing to go off of there. Weekly time frame, very bullish implications here. You know, if the week closes red here, there is some bearish divergence, and that divergence was formed here at about $53. Could we go all the way to $53? That'd be a bit much, in my opinion. I don't think we go all the way down there, but it could happen. Something to keep in mind, but I don't think we do. Stochastics are bearish at the moment. I guess you're bullish overall. You're just crossed down. You're at this area to bounce. You're like bullish and bearish at the same time. Overall bullish though. Let's be fair. Weekly MACD is overall bullish as well. So yes, I don't think that the party's stopping here. I think we're just taking a little brief intermission. And ultimately, Dash, I do believe that you have the potential to see new all-time highs this cycle. But before we get there, before we get to talking about new all-time highs, I want to see you above. I want to see how fast, how long it takes you to get above your prior cycle highs, right? If it's December, it's the end of December, and we're not even above these highs, you're probably not going to see new all-time highs. But if it's the end of the year and we're at $615 to $900, yes, you probably do see new all-time highs. So it just depends on what we see. If we do see new all-time highs, you know, it could be something just above $1,600. It could be all the way up at about $6,000, maybe even $10,000. We'll see. Time will tell. But I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. So if you guys like this video, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Monthly RSI is getting overbought. That's nice to see. MACD might cross above the zero as well. It's nice to see as well. I think we really are setting up for a massive bull run here for Dash, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw new all-time highs. I mean, imagine this thing going to $5,000, $5,600, because that's your minimum target on the fibs. I mean, that's about a 70x from here, 80x. You're already up like 8x from your low, and you still have 80x potential, or sorry, 70x potential. Crazy stuff. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care of yourselves. All right. Bye.